we learned that the condition in case of light waves, the first condition for interference to occur is that we should have a monochromatic source, so that the phase difference is independent of time. Second thing is that the two sources should be coherent. The two sources should be coherent because we want a constant phase relationship between the two waves. Okay. Now, when these two conditions are satisfied, we get constructive interference and destructive interference occurring. So, let's say that the first wave produces a displacement of y1, second wave produces a displacement of maximum displacement of a2. So, what is the resultant maximum displacement due to constructive interference? Remember that the resultant is simply equal to a1 plus a2. The reason being that in constructive interference, the maxima of the first wave coincides with the maxima of the second wave. Whenever the first wave reaches its maximum, the second wave also reaches its maxima. So, the resultant is simply the addition of both the maximas. Okay. The phase difference for constructive interference, as we saw, was equal to 2k pi, and we also saw that 2k pi is equivalent to a path difference of k lambda. So, these are the four things we observe in case of constructive interference, which you should remember, I guess. Now, when we have destructive interference, let's say that y1 has a maximum displacement of a1, y2 has a maximum displacement of a2. What is the resultant displacement? The resultant maximum displacement can be what? See, both of these two will always cancel the effect of each other. So, when y1 reaches its maximum, y2 reaches its minimum. So, this is a1, this is a2. So, the resultant is always, the maximum resultant will be always a1 minus a2, because they are cancelling the effect of each other. Now, when destructive interference occurs, what is the phase difference? The phase difference, as you can say, is 2k plus 1 times pi. And what is the path difference? The path difference is equal to k plus half times lambda. Okay. So, this is the general things which we observe in case of an interference. Now, let's take different cases and let's observe the interference pattern which occurs in different setups. So, first take a very normal setup which Thomas Young also used. Let's understand the interference in case of a double slit. So, in double slit, what we have is that here we have a screen on this side. Okay, this is a screen. We have a source coming from here, and this source, light from this source goes to this thin slits here, and from this thin slits light comes to the screen as waves. Okay. Now, let's say this distance is d and this distance is capital D. Okay. Okay. Now, let's take some point here. Let's assume that this is x is equal to 0. Let's take some point at this distance x, so that from the center of this line, that is the center of the two slits, this angle is theta. Okay. So, the first conditions of this setup is that, as we said, that D should be very less than capital D. That means the distance between the two slits is very less than the distance between the slits and the screen, and the wavelength of the light which comes out of the two slits should just be very less than this distance x which we are measuring. So, these are the two conditions. Generally, what happens is that this D is in terms of few millimeters, Okay, lambda, as you know, for light lies between 400 to 700 nanometer, or a fraction of micrometer, and this distance capital D is in meters and x is in few millimeters. So you can see very clearly see that this condition is satisfied, this condition is also satisfied. Now what is the path difference at this point due to these two waves? Let's say that S1x, let's say this point is P. So the path difference is equal to delta x is equal to this distance px2 ps2 minus ps1, right? So let's write that. Let's find what is delta x. Now you know that ps2 square minus ps1 square is what? ps2 plus ps1 into ps2 minus ps1. Now what is this? ps2 is, if you take this triangle, ps2 is x2, sorry, d, this distance is d, and this distance is x, this distance is x, and this distance is d by 2. From here to here it's d by 2, and this is x. So d plus x plus d by 2 whole square. ps1 whole square is what? It's from here, it's d plus x minus d by 2 whole square. This distance is x, this distance still here is d by 2. So in this triangle, this small triangle, this one, d square plus this small distance is x minus d by 2 whole square is this distance. Now if you simplify this, you will get this as, you'll get this as what? You will get this as 2x, this comes out to be 2xt, right? ps2 plus ps1, ps2 is this distance plus ps1 is this distance, this is ps2. Now you see that in this case we are drawing it to a smaller scale. Actually the distance between this screen and this slits are very large compared to the distance between, compared to all other distances, that means this distance or this distance. So ps2 I can approximate as this distance. Remember that when you have this large, let's say, base and this small height, then this hypotenuse is approximately equal to this base, right? That is what here is happening here. So in this case ps2 I can write as d. Similarly ps1 also, this length is capital D, this length is very small, so this length is, this hypotenuse is approximately equal to d, so d, and ps2 minus p1 is the phase difference, sorry, path difference, right? So my delta x comes out to be approximately equal to x d by capital D. Okay, so I got the path difference as delta x equal to x d by capital D.